All right. Very warm welcome to the webinar number 5 of the India Smart Protein Innovation Challenge by GFI India. And it's a strategic initiative, as you all know, to help build the smart protein ecosystem in our country. The cohort consists of a lot of scientists, researchers, students at across masters, bachelor's, PhD levels. We have a lot of corporate associates and early stage professionals. We have startups. We have entrepreneurs as part of the cohort, and it has been quite a journey till now. Just understanding a lot of the interest areas that you've registered on the Mercer Middle platform as part of phase 2, and just going through some of that data. And by Monday, you should have update in your profiles about about your registration status. I think all the people who created their teams on matchmaking platform have registered. So the number is around 250. We'll let you know the exact details on Monday. So it's quite exciting. We started out with 750 people almost, and now we are down to 250 as we have progressed through the challenge. And it's quite exciting to see a lot of innovative team, reading your team names and understanding the areas that you're kind of working on. Today, obviously, we are here for plant-based eggs and the science behind it primarily, but not just that. Our speakers come with backgrounds and ingredients, dairy, fat applications, new product development, and research and development in general across these categories and areas of focus. So with the primary focus on plant-based eggs, with RFPs, we'll also focus on other areas. So feel free to bring up questions that might be adjacent to the theme at hand today, and we'll be considering taking those in the last 30 minutes. So once again, introducing our experts, we have Aboli Shogi, founder and CEO of Food Techie Solutions. Hi, Aboli. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Great. So we'll love to see you when you present your session with the first kind of session to present, and then we'll move on to our second speaker for today, Vanvi, who's basically the senior executive customer innovation at AAK Kamani, and she comes with a background in plant-based dairy, plant-based eggs, applications of fats in some of these areas, and in general, working with the kind of ingredient innovation ecosystem that operates within AAK and AcoPlanet. So we are very glad to have both of these expert speakers for today. And obviously, the host for today would be me, Shardul Labir, and Nicole for moderation would be assisting me with some of the questions that come our way through the session. Industry across VC funds, startup enabling systems, incubators, accelerators. We are quite excited to have some of these organizations associated with the challenge in terms of the post in phases 2, 3, 4. So having said that, the RFPs that we are kind of focusing on today, as you all know, are these. Creating a two-part egg, which is the third problem statement in track 1, which some of you are focusing on. It's quite unique because we've seen a lot of, egg white applications or, perhaps liquid egg applications till now. But how do we get, hard-boiled eggs or sunny side eggs? This is a big scientific challenge in the innovation ecosystem across the globe, right? I mean, in itself, the plant-based egg category, which is almost a $10 billion category in the US and is poised to, the overall egg category is almost $10 billion, and the plant-based egg category is poised to grow up to 1.5 billion in the next few years, in fact, 3 to 4 years, as per a lot of reports. So it's quite an exciting market. Obviously, very few companies are active in the space compared to plant-based meat and plant-based dairy. And it presents a lot of opportunities for innovation for those who are now thinking about these applications. So we've covered this, but other than that, obviously, plant-based egg applications in terms of protein innovation, functionalization, and protein fractionation from indigenous crops like millets, lentils, and creating these to basically focus on some sort of a scientific innovation in plant-based egg will fall under the RFP or problem statement 6 for track 1, which some of you again are focusing on. Having said that, in track 2, ventures focusing on plant-based egg applications, it could be liquid eggs, it could be two-part eggs, are also part of our statement 1 in track 1, in track 2, which is another area of interest for some of you. And at the same time, improving plant fat profiles, And protein fractionation and functionalization is something to which some of the content today also caters to that, and our speakers are able to answer some of these questions, especially for plant fat profiles, because Vanvi has been working with some of those at AAK and has some insights on those areas of applications. There's also ingredient consistency and variability issues. So some of you as entrepreneurs might be thinking about improving that. And some of it can also focus on plant-based egg. At the same time, focusing on B2C kind of plant-based egg ventures. B2B and B2C would be quite different in terms of the application areas, the volumes, the kind of products that you're thinking of working on, the kind of supply chains of distribution you're looking to establish. So some of the consumer insights that our speakers might present today would be helpful there as well. Yeah. And having said that, again, a two-part egg kind of application and venture specifically focusing on that can basically also apply for track 2 in this kind of a your questions through the Q&A, and we'll be happy to take those as they come, and also towards the end. Having said that, I'll invite Abuli to switch on a camera and basically share her deck so that we can get started with her part of the presentation.
Thank you, Shardul. We'll start.
Abuli, are you able to check or hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Video, I can't.
Abuli, are you there?
You have to.
Okay, so Abuli, welcome, and we'll love to hear about Food Techie, your work with helping entrepreneurs as a consultancy in terms of plant-based egg innovation, the kind of innovation areas you're focusing on, what kind of infrastructure or what kind of processes or ingredient innovation you're thinking of when specifically talking about plant-based egg, but the larger plant-based food ecosystem. And you have a rich background and experience at DuPont in working in ingredients, and at the same time also have practical insights on what early stage and even corporates are kind of looking for when they're looking for innovating in this category. So we'll love to hear from all of those insights. So on to you for your session. Welcome.
Thank you, Shardul. Thank you for this opportunity also. This is a Food Techie solution. As in our tagline itself is a food innovation. Your food innovation engine. This is start from that one. Whatever your dreams in your mind, we are the engine. So we develop the products. Yeah. See what about us? We you are food innovation engine. Just like I said, that we are the R&D company. We have the dedicated teams. Know about the each and every ingredient, how to dedicate. We have the R&D infrastructure. Basically, our company based in the Mumbai, in the suburb of the Thane. So we have almost 14,000 square feet. We have the innovation lab, which we do for the food and beverages and nutraceutical companies, all the type of R&D. Regarding team, we see, I have worked with the application development manager, work with the Dow Chemical Asia Pacific system. So this type of mock meat and or texturization, I was expertise in the texturization. And I have also worked with the Orkla third party groups where the MTR Foods, and I'm an ex Alchem group also for the probiotics and all these things. My basic journey start from the 2011. That time I was work with the Dow Chemicals to do the texturization in the meat, texturization in the proteins, texturization in the non-dairy whipping cream, cooking cream. So that time I start for the journey from the 2010 to till now. We are working on the different stages of the non-dairy products. These are the offerings in the commercial, how we work together. Food Techie, how we work. See, whatever the concept comes in the minds of the consumers, we think, and the clients, we take it that one. We design the process, product process development processes, on the basis of their ideas. Then we develop the product lab scale and pilot scale. They do the validation of the product. Each and every products we are doing the validation, whether it's feasible or not. You are making the product for the which market, depend upon which market, which type of quality of product, and you how to make it. That is in our USP, to give you the right products in the right way. So in that way, the commercialization of the one of the part also, we do the process assessment and product assessment also. These are the normal product we do. This is the process of our food techie solutions. Food techie solutions, we have, these are the few of the things we are working on, the different, we have the well equipment lab, all machineries we are across the category, we are having different machineries, and we have the R&D setup in the Thane, as I told you. Then we have the multiple pilot scale plant. It's not the only we have the vegan and plant-based, we have the texturization, each and everything we are testing in-house only. Whatever the product, even shelf life study, stability study, and pilot scale also we do in our lab only. These are the 30 categories we are working. We are working on the dairy-based product, plant-based dairy-based product, plant-based meat, plant-based egg, dairy, and other protein extraction. Also, we are working on different extraction protein supplements. We are also working on the 3D technology, also 3D meat, that we have not covered in this one, but we are working on that one. And some of the university, we are tied with the cell-based products and cell-based milk. We are working on that one. Very soon that product also coming in the market. It takes 6 months, but that will be the new category, and similar like milk, and you can use for the application, like different application you can do for that milk. You can make the cheese, you can make that category we have. We have working on the phytochemicals, different type of novel foods also. These are the few category we are working on these things. See how we have this, out of all the companies, we have the 6 plant-based startup. They got the fundings, more than 500K. And then based on the accelerator and all these things, this is our achievement in the current say. Other plant-based company also working on the this accelerator, and they will be also getting the funding also. So we are closely working on the different organization also, and we are working on the plant-based products. These are the specifically plant-based startup, 6 startups they got the fundings. Our industry partners, how we are working in the different products. We have the very good contacts in the ingredient houses, flavors houses, government authority also. We are closely working on the different. We have the manufacturing organization where third party doing project consultancy in the large scale, also in packaging material. So across the India, we have the more than the 5,000 plus each ingredient, flavor houses and other things they have. We are working with them. So it's a strong, see, one ingredient, any formulation we require this ingredient, right technology, right packaging, then only we can give the right products. These are our USP in the market. These are the key highlight regarding our food techie solution. We have the biggest in the R&D development. If you say in the private sector, we are the number 1 in the R&D. Every category we are working on every categories. We have the pilot scale, pilot plant also. We have tried and tested 3,000 products, and already we have launched more than the 500 products in the market. Okay, And these are the more than the 3,000. We have the flavor house banks, we have the ingredient banks, we know how the each and every ingredient, we have the experience in the different category and different technology. We have the R&D teams, with dedicated R&D team where the 15 peoples are the technologists working on the different projects, different categories, different approaches. Every day we work on the different segments also, and categorization and deep dive in the projects. And we have the more than the 150 clients, satisfied client, those are work with us and continuously working with us. Regarding plant-based challenges and these things, how the basic things is the ingredient, which type of ingredient you are choosing, that is very important. That is, first ingredient is proteins. Protein, which type of protein you are taking. Proteins means is not a protein, this is having the isolate, or whether you are taking the concentrate, or there is only the 35% of protein powder. So these are the three category, which category you are using, and what is the amino acid profiling, how it is working, which type of texturization they have, they whether they have insolubility or not, which type of product they have. Each and every factor comes in the protein. Then there is a specialty ingredients. And protein also, which type of proteins you are using, whether you are lentils, chickpea, or pea, mung bean, and millet based. Each and everything, if even you can do work on the soya protein also, but there is a soya protein also, which type of amino acids there it includes, that is very matter. Even protein isolation, how you have done the protein isolation also the matter to the get the right texture, right body in the product. And there is a specialty ingredient just like fat, and there is a starches, different type of enzymes. Then there is in molecules like hydrocolloids, which type of hydrocolloids you are using, stabilizer you are using. So that very it is a matter to the work on the ingredient basis. And there is a basic thing in proteins and specialty ingredient, each ingredient having specific processes, specific their specifications, their pH, microbial load, each and every factors work on that one. Even micro ingredient also the very matters in this type of product, just like lead content, magnesium, potassium content, how it is working, what's the stage in the after few months, how it will be happening in the ingredients, because it's a shelf life product also the matters. When you using this product, like, it should be in the shelf life. If you're using the protein, manufacturing date is the end of the shelf life, and then you're using doing the product, that time also your product won't come. Even each and every ingredient should have the specific shelf life also. It doesn't matter how much is in that one, that should be you have to work out. Even your the ingredient supply, how it is a supply, whether how you purchasing the your ingredient. Just like I told you, there is a shelf life to the each and every product. It is matter to the sourcing, and you have to make the such a way that one you have to get it in the proper manner. You have to make the calendar making, how you are getting the products, when you are dispatching the product, each and every and vendor relationship also the matter in this one, ingredient sourcing. Then processing, this is a heart of this all the product is this processing, whether you get the formulation on the online and all these things everywhere, but you should know the how your process is done, because process also the secrets of the processing is very important in each and every product. In this type of egg, whether you're sunny side or any type of egg emulsion and all these things, you require the right process development is very important. For which type of equipment you are using also the matter, which type of if you are doing homogenization, how you are doing the homogenization of the emulsion, how you are doing the emulsion of the product, how you are packing in the product. And third and not least is the third party manufacturing. is the key challenges in the third party manufacturing also. If you are not doing the manufacturing third party's right partner, then you can't do your manufacturing properly. So that is a major challenges and you have in the R&D. So, but we have the pilot scale, we working on the different stages and different technology. See, importance of R&D, whatever this is the R&D driven product, whatever the egg you are doing, or mung bean protein, pea proteins, any type of proteins you are, it is an R&D driven project. It is not like that when you take the powder and take the oil and all this thing and mix it in mixer and all this thing and do the things. No, you have to require the specific scale up plant. You have to require the specific machineries. Each and every products are designed by that one. Each and every ingredients, each and every processes is required. You have to daily work on the different processes. How you have to adjust with the new proteins, and what are the lacunas in the proteins, or whatever the ingredients are there, hydrochloride and stabilizers, you have to use it. You must have the firstly clear what is your product definition. If you are making any product, so first you should know the what is your product definition. Without your product definition, you can't work it. Just like come with the only, oh, okay, I need a plant-based egg or plant-based egg, this is the thing. But you should know the strategy of the product. The definition means definition comes to the your raw material, which type of raw material, whether you want clean labeling, whether you want the pricing, because pricing in the India or abroad, anywhere you require the pricing is a matter. If you want to launch the product in the vegan community and all these things is okay, but in the mass segment, in the coming even middle class people and other people, your price should be the price conscious. So your definition should be the identified. What is your volume, future volumes? Each and every before any project start, you have to clear the product definition. What is your R&D strategy? What is your target consumer? Even strategy in the R&D strategy means which type of ingredient you want to use it. How you have to drive the project. That is very important. Then there is every budget you have to sign, the R&D budget or each and every budget you have to assign before the project start with the project. Without that, you can't do it, because this is the R&D driven project. You have to give the budget for the R&D. And you should need the fourth thing is qualified team. You should know the which type of person you are onboarding and all this thing. What is the value you have, they will get you. That is very important. You can take the qualified team, but if you don't have the infrastructure, there is no use of your product. So then it will take you long time. There will be, even we have seen there isn't so much R&D infrastructure in some of the companies. They can't give the right product. That also the very problematic. There isn't, it should be in the proper manner. You have to identify the each and every segments, people, and R&D strategy, your budgets, qualified teams. Product definition, I'm emphasizing the product definition is very important. Which market segment you have to launch, which type of packaging you should know. So you have to start from the first day only. These are the tentative products, packaging, tentative processing, tentative your ingredient. These are the cost, and this will be the consumer cost. You should know before that the start of the project. And most important is the commercial scale manufacturing. You should aware about this called as, normally we call this product definition only. All comes in the product definition. You should know the each and everything before the start of the project. Then it will be easy for you to execute. So first definition is very important, and then execution is only the matter of the how you work. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is from Foodtech.
Thank you, Aboli. And we'll get back to you for more questions and perhaps specific areas of plant-based egg applications where people might have more questions. Before that, we'll move on to Vanvi for the second leg of the session, and then at the last 30 minutes, we'll take on more questions. So, Vanvi, would you like to share your screen? Abul, you can stop sharing the.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Great. So, in the second part of our session today, we have Vanvi, who's focusing on a lot of customer innovation, specific technical solutions, working with the R&D teams, yet at the same time understanding what the requirements of the clients are. So she has foot in both doors, inside the lab and little outside as well. And she will be today presenting on the focus on ingredients and other such areas of innovation in the R&D and new product for value chain. So when the floor's on to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Shardul. Yeah. Hello. So, from AAK. AAK is a specialty oils and fats company developing specialty oils and fats for various customers in food category, pharma category, and nutraceutical and nutrition category. So, let's understand why the plant-based diets are growing, maybe because of the health reasons and environment reasons and animal welfare reasons. 55% of people think that they have to save the environment, they have to reduce the consumption of processed meat for the health concerns. 51% people think that they should reduce the meat consumption for the environmental concerns, and 54% people think that non-meat eaters are concerned about the reason of having the meat because of the animal welfare concerns. They don't want to harm the animals. So this translates into a growth of plant-based meat and dairy. It has increased tremendously, from 2015 to the plant-based food have been increased tremendously. After the COVID, the need for the plant-based foods and the need for the sustainable foods have increased, and the health concerns have been increased tremendously after the post-COVID concern. So in plant-based foods, when we have compared with the other foods, the plant-based foods have increased about 11%, and in plant-based meat, we have seen 18% of increase in the acceptance of the plant-based meat. Plant-based milk, we have seen 5% increase, like oat milk, pea milk, and almond milk, soya milk kind of applications. In plant-based cheese, when we have seen dairy cheese, we have seen a tremendous increase of 18% in plant-based cheese compared to the animal cheese, because of the allergen reasons, or maybe the lactose intolerant reasons, and other allergen and animal welfare reasons. So our diets are changing from vegan, vegetarian to the flexitarian. So globally, most people are transitioning towards more plant-based eating. Many people are, the shoppers are seeing that they want to eat a meatless meat once in a week at least. And usually they choose plant-based food and beverages for the global sustainable concerns. So AAK is the first choice for value-adding oils and fat solutions. So we have a footprint of in more than 100 countries. We have sales offices. We have more than 15 customer innovation centers. We are leading position of supplying the fats and oils in chocolate, nutrition, dairy, bakery, and plant-based food category. So the AAK launches dedicated base unit for the co-development with plant-based food producers. From 1871, we are working on plant-based foods, and from 2015, we have seen a good work on plant-based foods, and we have also added specialty lecithin in our ingredients. portfolio recently. So the knowledge innovation and the customer co-development approach are the main reasons how AAK is working out, from the launch of the product to the implementation of the product in the launch in the market, and proving the product, ideation of the product, creating a product category in whatever they want to develop in the plant-based food category. We have almost 15 customer innovation centers around the world. In India, we have a customer innovation center in Mumbai, India. So here we are working on the co-development opportunities with different customers in various food categories. In plant-based food, we are working on plant-based dairy, plant-based meat, and egg alternatives. Our strength are like we have halal kosher certificate. Our plant is having FSSAI certificate. Our R&D facility have the DSIR certificate, and we are having sustainable sourcing of oil. Like we have RSPO certified, and our pharma industry, pharma oils and fat supplies FDA certified. So our like we are the main drivers of the ambition, and better we have better sourcing, better operations, and we have better solutions for the betterment of the world. Like we engage with the customers to increase the use of better solutions. We be a knowledgeable partner to the customers and increase the share of the revenue from solution contributing to sustainable development goals, improve the quality and sensory performance of plant-based foods. And I would like to enhance discuss more about the who is the plant-based customers, like who are the customers who are interested to have the plant-based food. The higher income households, parents of young children who want to create a sustainable environment, who are thinking about the earth, and who are thinking about future of the earth. Who can afford premium food with higher quality and sustainable and clean label foods are very much coming up around the market shelves nowadays. And younger consumers who value the fresh foods and healthy foods and are open to try new products, like millennial customers. So plant-based foods, plant-based drinks are increasing tremendously in Asia Pacific region. Maybe like plant-based drinkable yogurts, plant-based pea milk, oat milk, almond milk, soya milk, which have high content of proteins. They are increasing tremendously around the globe, and in Asia Pacific mostly the plant-based drinks are increasing. The number of product launches have been increased by 20% from 2015 to 18. In the plant-based meat, people are trying to replicate the alternatives of chicken, pork, beef, and fish type of alternatives with different additives and ingredients. The highest growth is within the plant-based frozen food through the category. Though the category is small, the CAGR is almost 91%. So more opportunities for the ethical and ecological innovations in the Asia Pacific region. It has grown up to 30% recently, and from May 2019 to 2020 April, we have seen the growth of egg products and meat products in NPD about 30% in Asia Pacific region, and people feel like they can improve the world by consuming or buying the plant-based products. So COVID-19 have given very good changes in the view of health and spending. Like people want to spend on sustainable products. People want to spend more on clean label products. They want to spend on known ingredients, recognizable ingredients, good protein content, high satiety products. So 37% expect that they want to change permanently towards the health and wellness product, and 24% people expect they want to change for the time being to improve their lifestyle, and they are 73% expect overall consumer spending reduction to persist beyond the second quarter of 2020. The plant-based products, meat alternatives, extremely important in meat alternative sections. People are more looking towards good taste, clean label, recognizable ingredients. They want similar texture of the meat, but want a sustainable product, want a low level of fat content. They want a high level of protein content. The formatted products, which are like patties, sausages, crumbles, etc., have been good raised in the good raise, and protein type like soya, pea protein, and other proteins have also been increased in the how they want to put on the way forward for the plant-based food industries. So now we see about the plant-based egg. Like for the plant-based egg, we have ticked all the categories. Like for the healthy breakfast, people are thinking that they want to have a healthy breakfast with low fat content, low in sugar content, high in protein content. So plant-based egg has low cholesterol or no cholesterol benefits, and it fulfills all the attributes for the consumer to who is seeking for the healthy breakfast. So let us see about the egg composition. The egg nutrition, the yolk has cholesterol, fat content is 4.5 grams, saturated fat is 1.6 gram, and the functionality 70 to 73% of water, and it acts as a moisture. 11 to 13% of fat. It's a source of energy, carry liposoluble substances, contribute to the mouth feel. It has 13% protein. Protein is a source of nutrition, and it's a major functional component in the egg. And 1% of minerals and vitamins. Nutrition have a significant effect on the protein stability. Minerals and vitamins have a significant effect on protein stability. So what are plant-based eggs? Plant-based eggs are developed by utilizing protein extracts from legumes and other plant-based sources to create a clean protein resembling a beaten egg, which is thought to be an alternative to the traditional chicken-driven derived egg. The liquid egg is made with chickpeas, peas, soya, amaranth, or mung bean. So you can use different kinds of proteins, and you can do the combination. I'll also discuss about the formulation and recipe in the way ahead slide. How do you formulate a plant-based egg? The main ingredients are water, oil, protein, emulsifiers, starches, and other additives. The process is by mixing hydrating the ingredients under specific temperature and agitation conditions. We have tried to develop a plant-based egg by doing the hit and trial method with different combination of ingredients. And yes, you can the plant-based egg, the water, the functionality of water is similar to the normal egg. The water is the water contribute to the moisture of your product, and the oil, you can use the combination of different kinds of oils like sunflower, groundnut, flaxseed to give the nutritional composition in the oil, and also it gives a good body and texture to the product. Different oils interact differently, so not all the oils are same. They have different functionalities. It also interact with differently with different ingredients like emulsifiers, proteins. the different proteins such as legume proteins, moong protein, chickpea protein, and amaranth protein isolates can also be used. Like how Abuli has discussed, like we have the different proteins should be processed in different ways, like fermentation, hydrolyzed, and to give a certain functionality for our what we have what type of product we have to achieve. So in the emulsifiers also play a very critical role um, um, to form a stable oil and water emulsion like egg. Choosing the right emulsifier is very critical to success of the plant-based product. It also gives a good shelf life, performance, appearance, mouthfeel, and flavor to the product. And starches are also a very critical ingredient which give body and bulkiness to the egg alternatives. The other ingredients which you can use are flavors, colors, stabilizers, thickeners, preservatives, and vitamins and minerals to give the better nutritional composition, which is similar to the regular egg. So this is an example recipe which we have prepared in our lab. So the water may be from 65 to 71%. The functionality is like oil and water. The water is a part of oil and water emulsion. Protein isolates, it's a source of protein. You can use different kinds of proteins like mung bean protein and pea protein. I'll discuss more about the functionalities of proteins in further slides. AK fat, we have tried to use a fat blend which forms as a oil droplets in the part of oil and water in oil and water emulsion. 9 to 12% of fat have been used in the recipe. 1 to 2% of emulsifiers have been used. They keep the mixing. They keep the fat and oil stable, and salts which contribute to the sensory attributes, starches, hydrocolloids, fibers have been used for the stabilization of the product. So the process for the production of plant-based egg is like hydration of proteins and water at 60 degrees for 30 minutes, then incorporation of melted fat, starches, and emulsifiers at 60 degrees for 5 minutes to kill any type of bacteria or microbial load. Then we have added the salt and other additives, homogenization at 1000 bar, and then the egg batter have been cooled and frozen below 10 degrees centigrade. Proteins, like why legume proteins, soya and pea protein are possess very good solubility. The soya protein will give a very good gelling properties which are very important for the egg, but the processing is also important when using the soya protein, because at higher it cannot resist the high temperatures. It can resist only low temperatures when you have put it into heating. So soya and pea protein have emulsifying properties that are similar to egg protein, and changing the pH can regulate the thickness of the emulsion. So these are the 7 different pulses which have high proteins and can be used in the plant-based eggs. Along with these, you can use the combination of protein so that you can get a right texture to your plant-based egg, and also you can use some of the millets in the plant-based eggs, which will also contribute to the protein content. So fats also play a very good, very important role in the plant-based egg formulation. Why fats are very important? They help in the brain development. So they help in support of the absorption of vitamin A, D, E, K. They are the structural component of cells. They are the source of energy, and certain fats help in the keeping a heart healthy and blood vessels also. We have different kinds of fats. We have trans fats, saturated fats, unsaturated fats. Choosing the right fat is very important for development of any product. So different fat have different SAFA, MUFA, PUFA content. They have different kinds of fatty acid profile. So accordingly, we have to choose the best fat for different applications and for different functionalities. So fats are the building blocks for the development of any product. Fat is a very essential food ingredient. They are they keep the food tasty, and they are helping in the production of hormones in our body. They are vital in the taking up of vitamin A, D, E, K, part of body cells. It provides energy. So we are supplying different kinds of fats and oils for different applications. So rapeseed oil or canola oil, soya bean oil, palm kernel, sunflower, corn, shea kernel, coconut. We are sourcing different raw materials from different sources, different areas all over the world, and then processing it in the manufacturing plant, and developing different oils for different applications, so that the functionality is matched for the different food applications. So not all the fats are created equal. So to make you understand, we have the fat makes a very great difference in your product. The type of fat gives a different sensory experience in your finished product. Like the melting point of the fat is also very important. Maybe for the confectionery product where you need a good mouth melt, you need the fat which is having melting point less than 30 degrees, 34 degrees. And for the frozen dessert, you need a different fat which has a lower melting point. For the bakery products, we need a melting point which has higher. And so different fats have a different melting points, and they have different functionality in the formulation. So they contribute to the taste, texture, some succulence to your product. And we can co-develop different fats. We can co-develop solution by using the plant-based matrix in variety of formats: solid fats, liquid fats, pumpable, pre-crystallized blends, emulsions, particulated fats, and fat flakes. For the plant-based foods, we enhance the taste and texture, impact the flavor, create a right emulsion, optimize the nutritional build a sustainable story, and give a marbling effect to the meat alternatives. So regarding the plant-based egg, we have formulated a plant-based egg batter, liquid egg batter, which has fat content of almost 9 to 12 degrees centigrade. And the specialty oil mix is developed for the plant-based egg as a good source of MUFA, PUFA, and omega-3. It is low in SAFA, trans-free and cholesterol-free, fortified with vitamin A and B. Mung bean, amaranth, pea, and soya proteins can be used in the final liquid batter. And it is stored in below 10 degrees centigrade and thawed before making it. So we have tried to match the nutritional profile and the lipid profile of the regular egg to get a better blend in the liquid egg batter. So I'll run through fast. Maybe we are running out of time. So
we have enough time. Please take your time. This is quite interesting. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So standard egg, like when we are comparing standard egg with the common egg replacers, we are trying for the functionality of the baking, we are trying to tick mark all the functionalities. Like we have different types of products on the market, like powdered egg replacers, flaxseed and water. Just Egg is a brand. Cracked is also a brand. Oggs Aquafaba is a brand, and Fresh Eggs. When we compare the different functionalities, we can we are shelf stable, taste like egg, and we are looking for the functionality for the baking, eat as a standard standalone egg and price of the egg equivalent, no animal or vegan, convenient, protein per egg equivalent. We are considering all these parameters while preparing a plant-based egg. So no cholesterol is the main thing which can attract the old consumers and plant-based egg snacking category. No cholesterol or low cholesterol. The people who are more than 55 years old consumers are looking for the low cholesterol, low fat type of food categories, and the manufacturers are struggling more to give such kind of products especially for the breakfast category. So marketing the no cholesterol and protein content of the plant-based egg could attract old consumers, especially at the breakfast where eggs are eaten by higher number of these consumers. Eggs have long been seen as a great source of protein for the consumers, but need to cook. That is the main challenge, and there's no on-the-go consumption. So the plant-based egg product are more used, they are gaining the consumers interest, so that we can have them on the go, or we can have in a small packed and cooked, we are trying to develop different products in the plant-based egg category, like egg bites and on-the-go consumption, and for the ingredient as a baking. So these are the main global plant-based egg alternatives we have seen around the globe. Breakfast bites, folded eggs like all omelette, scrambled egg, plant-based egg can be used in all different types of frozen breakfast bites and snacks as an egg replacement. Brands may choose to create vegan products or provide eggless alternatives to avoid allergens. Allergens, animal welfare, and different kinds of diseases what birds and animals have been given, and that is also affecting the human population, which is that's the reason people are shifting to regular egg to the plant-based egg. And plant-based eggs are conventionally frozen and can be toasted, pan fried, microwave to provide plant-based egg on toast, and sandwiches, or used as a low-carb replacement for a wrap. Scrambled eggs can replace traditional eggs in any item that uses scrambled egg. Example, breakfast bowl, burritos, wraps, muffins, or hot pockets. These are more on the plant-based egg market globally. They are having some kind of conventionally cooked and peeled eggs, which are plant-based, and low carb and high protein snack egg bites, and also mess-free portable heating containers, which provide way of cooked eggs without a saucepan or utensils, with no washing up, in a powdered shelf stable format. This could be a next development for plant-based egg replacers to tackle US. So these are the egg substitutes which are available in India, and all the innovations and new products. And the opportunities in the plant-based moving forward are, they are healthier than none of the other products, bringing in the clean label offering, highlight ingredient with added value like nutritional benefits like omega-3 for the brain health positioning, functionality, and expand the sustainability, retail, pack and e-commerce, local deliciousness and familiar protein, reduce the price sensitivity with per seat added value. So made with EcoPlanet. EcoPlanet is the brand of AAK, for which we are giving the fats and oils for the plant-based foods, for the meat, dairy, and egg replacements or alternatives. Yes, with this, I complete the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Venvi. Thank you, Aboli. You can switch off your screen sharing, Venvi. And if both of you can switch on your videos, I'll start the gallery view and we'll take on some questions. I saw some hands raised. So I'm just going to get the first question from the person who's raised a hand. Are you able to join us now? Yeah, I'm not sure who the attendee is. Are you able to listen? Okay, I think they're gone back, but a couple of questions that came our way were around the use of ingredients. And I think somebody was talking about palm oil seeds, and palm oil as a raw material, as a vegetable oil for improving the innovation and perhaps cost when it comes to making plant-based eggs. Can you talk a little bit more about the value chain for this specific crop as a source of ingredient for plant-based food applications and perhaps plant-based egg applications? So I think, Nanvi, this was in your slide. Perhaps we can start with you.
Yes, like in the fat applications for the non-palm range, if you can see, like we have to use the blend of different fats, like maybe the flaxseed as the egg contains omega-3, and then we can use the combination of different fats which matches the SAFA, MUFA, and PUFA content of the regular egg, and then develop the product. So the oil blend which we have, with it gives the similar nutritional profile and also give a better functionality when compared to the regular egg.
Got it. Currently, what kind of what all players are like, for example, providing palm-based fat solutions for plant-based foods, and how easy, for example, or difficult it is for an individual entrepreneur or a startup to source these ingredients in a country like India in terms of its supply chain?
In terms of supply chain, like we already have the solutions for the palm-based in the palm-based category for the meat alternatives and the fish alternatives, all type of plant-based food. So we can currently we have products in place. So currently there's no much thing, and also we have RSPO certified oil. So the sustainable story also can be made with the using AAK solutions.
Got it. Thank you. I'm going to just switch off my video for internet stability. But the next question is actually for Aboli. Aboli, can you talk to the candidates about the challenges currently present in the plant-based egg applications? You've worked with few entrepreneurs, few corporates, and perhaps you've done some internal R&D and NPD around these products, like you mentioned. So that sulfur flavor which comes, perhaps the right kind of texture, what kind of processes, what kind of steps, and what kind of key sets of ingredients are useful to think about when we are thinking about new product development in plant-based eggs?
Yeah, see, basically plant-based egg, we require the major ingredient, how it is. Basically, your definition should be which type of product you want, whether you want, what is the cooking time you require, similar like egg, or egg, which egg, how much protein you require, which type of protein you want to, whether you want clean labeling or any salts you want to add it, or whether you want to see, normally palm oil is then non-dairy product isn't very, nobody likes the palm generally. Okay, don't use the palm oil. Palm oil is having a good properties. I know that when all the things in very well mannered, but you won't get the right products. See, you have to use some of the blends in the oils or some of the key flavoring profiles. In the majorly, Bini note is a major issue in the egg plant-based products. Bini note, and there is a texture. Texture is a crucial thing. See, in the normal plant-based egg, some products, whatever the market, we have seen that when they're having the cooking time is very high. You have to concentrate on the cooking time reduction. How you are giving the presentation, on which type of technology you are using, how it is blending. I think Kamani has given 1000 PSI, 1000 bar. It's very high homogenization they are suggestion they given. That also the good product insight is there. You have to mixing is the major challenges of the protein. the solubility of the proteins, how you handles the protein, that very critical situation, which type of amino acid presents, that is very important for. These processes are the different stages are very important. Ingredient, process, and your sourcing, all are matters in the products. And major is a packaging. Packaging also the important thing. When you are launching the product and your packaging is not sustainable in India, so don't, because of that, some of the launches are delayed because of the packaging issues. Because some of the places, these molds can't use it. Machines are not suitable for this one. You have to think twicely, thricely, which type of packaging material you are using. Otherwise, your efforts are the gone. So think on the every stages, and which type of
Yeah.
and your product quality, which type of flavor you are using, that also the matter. Flavor, salts, and the emulsifiers, right emulsifier, right viscosity, it should be maintained. Because after some time, it should not become the dosa pattern mix. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, no, absolutely. New product development, like Abuli rightly said, has to be thought from a very comprehensive lens as an entrepreneur, as a scientist, as a researcher, because all of you are playing a role towards getting a successful product out in the market, right? And, each member of your team who will play a different role in a startup, perhaps, or even you as an individual who want to contribute to a company or perhaps a startup or a corporation solving for these problems will have to understand, comprehensively how perhaps my decision of choosing one process over the other, one source of ingredients over the other, choosing a method of packaging over the other is going to overall affect, right? Sometimes we, from the challenge perspective, also talk a lot about things theoretically, and right, that's also important. For example, in the two-part egg, which is very, very novel and innovative, and very, very few companies have done it. Perhaps initially you'll have better chance of pricing it to a relatively premium price point, and then you can accommodate for better solutions, better packaging material. But as you scale up and as you start competing with the conventional egg, you've seen all of these street food stands in India, right? Like the kind of egg dishes we are able to offer, even in perceived vegetarian country states like Gujarat. I remember in Rajkot, in areas around Baroda, the variety of street food made using eggs, Delhi, etc., is amazing. Like hundreds of dishes you can find. Are you creating products for those kind of B2B applications? Is a key thing to ask yourself. If not, are you going to appeal to very specific set of household consumers that are probably going to pay 100% premium, 50% premium compared to the cost of 4 eggs or 5 eggs, kind of like a liquid egg model? That's also worth thinking about. You have to think about the supply chain. So all of those insights make a lot of sense, Abuli. Vanvi, would you like to perhaps talk a little bit more about challenges in development of plant-based egg products, and perhaps what could be the challenges in developing a two-part egg? And I know that very few people in India have worked on this, and this is a very new area. But in terms of engineering challenges or process challenges or perhaps functionality challenges, what would you say would be the key areas to think about when somebody's trying to create such innovative hard-boiled egg products or two-part egg products, or perhaps just improving the existing set of liquid where, for example, yeah, go on. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, the main challenge is like how like what we have discussed, what Aboli has also discussed, that the combination of different ingredients, the functionality of different ingredients, how the processing of each ingredient have been made, and the flavoring part, the starches, the type of fat you're using, and the processing of the processing of what the plant-based solution you want to achieve. Like maybe in the plant-based egg also, what you want to develop, like you want to develop a plant-based egg white or a plant-based egg yellow, or what kind of egg composition you want to develop is also very important. Like each of the ingredient what you're using, and the processing the protein content or the starch, and what type of gelling agent you're adding, what type of emulsifiers and stabilizing agents you are adding in the composition.
Makes sense. Aboli, my next question is actually for you. So working with startup entrepreneurs, you've already highlighted all the key areas which they should be thinking about. But perhaps as a consultant who's been servicing some of the entrepreneurs and clients in plant-based egg application, what kind of demands for the Indian market are you seeing in terms of consumer insights? What do people want from plant-based eggs, and its sensory attributes, etc. And how do you see perhaps a role of a food technologist in overcoming those challenges? And I know you've already talked about some of these things, but perhaps just building deeper into those insights. You're on mute, Aboli.
Yeah, sorry. See, basically, in the case of the sensory attribute, see, people don't want the similar like flavor eggy note. See, basically, Indian people who are the vegetarians, they don't like the flavor of egg. And even those are the egg eater also, because of the flavor of egg, they don't want to eat. If suppose egg is fresh, first day, they will eat the product, and after the smell, the bad smell of original egg is very bad. So see, Indian consumer wants the basically product which is then very nice in taste. India is a taste driven market. Whether you give the product is the right way, even they like the texture, they want texture also similar like egg, functionality like egg, but they don't like the flavor of egg. They don't want flavor, because and they don't want the beanie flavor also. Okay, is a pleasant, it should be pleasant, it should not be beanie flavor, it should not be the eggy note, it should be pleasant buttery note, which is a creamy profile, and easy to handle. Basically, this is a major thing, how you handle the product. It should not be fragile or anything. वो टूट गया तो फिर वो अच्छा मजा नहीं आएगा. Omelette should be in the properly flap and flap. It should be like spongy, like your egg, normal egg. Where it is okay, they can understand this is the first products and all this thing, because but they like this concept. People like this concept and they want to use this product in routine life. This is basically costing of product is very important. Selection of the right ingredient, right process, and costing in India is the driven. The costing is very matter. You launch the product as a 500 rupees liter or 500 rupees half liter, but it can't survive in Indian market. You have to be in the reasonable rate, reasonable cost, and easy for use. These are the expectation from the consumer mindset. They don't want a product like very costly. This is similar like egg. Premium egg cost is having supposed 12 rupees or 15 rupees, or golden egg having 20 rupees. So one egg cost should be the 20 rupees. So your liquid or whatever powder cost should be not more than 20. It's okay. Premium charges, the normal egg is 20. Your charge organic egg is 25 rupees. So your egg is 40 rupees. That is okay. Doesn't matter. But it should not be more than that. A very high cost is not feasible for the Indian consumer. Initially, they will buy you, but once they like the product, so commercialization should be in the proper way. So your cost should be the as much as 1.5 times or 2 times more than the normal egg. That is okay. Not 3 times, 4 times, 5 times the normal egg. It should be sustainable model. The people concept is that like that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Aboli, for sharing that. I'm also going to quickly share my screen and run our candidates through the resource that has been shared with them already. So you already know, if you're focusing on plant-based, this is one of the resources from GF, which is optimizing for functional properties and applications in plant-based. Here we've basically discussed in a general sense of current egg use and considerations. Here is where data is obviously global. are you going to go? My bad. My internet dropped for, I think, a couple of seconds. Just quickly resharing my screen. So what I was saying is kind of area to solve the egg use and its and itself. Was on egg for time. That egg is pretty magnificent, right? No two eggs are like it's really a wonder. It's a nutritious product. It's obtained from chicken, which is a very big industry, as you know. You know, in India, we've been promoting the use of egg for nutrition for quite some time. You might remember some of the campaigns around this growing up. Sunday Hoya, Monday Rose Cow Day. So there's also that bit to think in mind while looking after the marketing, which is all tied up again into your product development activity. And then you have to think about its applications. Are you using it to replace the end product, or what are you doing with the byproducts that come out of your processing? Are there ingredients that you're choosing whose things that come out of fat, gonna do some sort of the B2B applications as well, because that would go a long way in terms of making a venture feasible. So couple of webinars on our US as well, which talk about plant-based, for the sector. I think my internet is dropping off, so I'm going to stop at that. But basically, this quick request again. We close down the session. Have you Hello, can everybody hear me? Just a last question for Vanvi and Aboli for you. Have either of you worked with potato protein in the past, and how is that as a source of plant-based egg application?
Potato proteins are good for the if you sunny side and all this thing you want to use it in that type of is okay. But if you want to make the full egg, is the emulsion of the white and yellow portion, that time it is very difficult to texturization problem will come. So you have to work on the both the how it is amino acid profiling coming from the potato proteins, and how is the extraction process of the potato proteins is very important for the final product of the egg.
Got it. And yeah, I think some candidates might also be thinking about mung bean, right? Like EAT just started with mung bean. A lot of startups found blends along with mung bean to, chickpea, mung bean, pea protein for the applications in plant-based egg. But it's worth thinking, where are you going to create your own IP? Because in many ways, if other startups have that, it's very difficult to replicate an exact similar kind of solution. So that's where your innovation would also be kind of evaluated on that. How innovatively have you thought about the set of ingredients available in India, or perhaps in the future that might be available in India, at least theoretically, which are being produced right now, but maybe not as isolates or concentrates, because that's still something of a niche market in a country like India for a lot of different crops. Having said that, Manvi, do you have any thoughts for sharing on that? Potato protein use or any other innovative plant-based ingredients for plant-based egg applications?
Yeah, like yes, potato protein is giving a jellifying effect, bit of sponginess when you incorporate heat into the egg product, like how Aboli has told that the concentration is very low, maybe like 0.2 to 0.5% for the liquid egg batter what we have used.
Noted. Thank you so much. I don't see any other questions. So if there's any question, you can raise your hands. We'll wait for a few more seconds to see. Otherwise, we'll close down the webinar after the insightful sessions conducted by Aboli and Vanvi. We hope that this will be helpful for you to further think about, your venture your solution, your idea, whether you're in track 1 or track 2, if you're working on eggs specifically, but also if you're working on plant-based dairy and plant-based meats, all of these kind of general insights also can be extrapolated for your own product development and R&D process, right? Thinking about ingredients, thinking about flavors, how to think about them, what kind of processes to follow. Obviously, not everything can be covered in a session, but we hope that whatever our expert speakers today were able to share with you, you'll be able to kind of build onto that by reading and going ahead and using some of the resources that are already with you, and perhaps finding more relevant resources, specific to your ideas on Google Scholar, ResearchGate, and multiple other internet avenues where plant-based foods are being discussed, including obviously the GFI resources on both gfi.org and gfi.org.in. So thank you so much, Aboli and Vanvi, for joining us today and sharing your insights. Any parting thoughts, starting with Aboli?
Yeah, thank you, Shardul. See, one of the things I want to share with you last things. We recently we have launched first in India few products. It will be coming very soon. That is a vegan only. It is in cheese, dairy category, milk category also. We are launching. Means our customer got the very good insight also. So next session, we will reveal you what are the products in the market are coming. So they are the first in India. So that is the application in dahi also. We are launching the dahi cheese, vegan cheese. First in India is in successful all the different blocks and different spreads in the cheese only, vegan only. And we have that facility also, pilot scale facility. They are manufacturing our site only. And even Tetra Pak first in India, milk also we are launched, our customer has launched. So we will give you the even egg category also. We will really give it to you inside big way very soon. Within the 2 weeks, the few launches are there.
That's great, Aboli. Congratulations. And we hope that, similar startups which are getting launched now, and people like you who are sharing insights about some of these things with the larger cohort, help other people with the insights that are being derived, so that the overall sector kind of gets accelerated. So thank you for that. Vanvi, on to you. Any parting thoughts?
Yes, thank you so much, GFI India team, for giving this opportunity. Yes, maybe we'll work more on together with the customers, and any questions you can reach out to me or anyone in our team. We have like 30 innovation technologists who are working on different categories. If not plant-based food, you can also reach out to us for any other food categories like confectionery, bakery, frozen dessert, and any kind of category. Also, we have some solutions for the plant-based ghee, plant-based butter, and plant-based dairy and meat alternatives as well. So you can also reach out to us anytime for co-development opportunities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vanvi. Great. With that, we'll close down the webinar number 5. We hope you found it useful, and join us tomorrow for webinar number 6, which is focusing on cultivated meat. The insights shared there would be quite useful for you overall. Once again, thank you for joining us, Vanvi and Aboli. Have a great Sunday.
Thank
Bye.
you, Shardul.
Thank you, Shardul.
Thank you. Bye.